using angles, spacing, and negative space. Negative space is this shape here, this shape here. Sometimes it can be inside, but like this shape here. Okay, so let's start going. It has a round head here, kind of oval. So we want to know, first of all, how big this is going to be on the page. So we want to make it about out to here. Now these two ears create an angle like that. So it's not a straight line at top. So the ears are going to top out here. And the ears are going to be out like this. The ears are going to come out like this. Kind of has a lobe there. And it kind of ends around here. This one will, at the top of the head here, and it'll angle out this way. So we want to make this angle about the same. And it'll come out to here, which is higher than that one, see? Go straight across, this one's higher. So the ear is going to be like this. It's not going to be too pointed around there. And it comes down. You can see it comes down at an angle. And then it starts looping in. And there's a little separate lobe here. So we want to touch those things first. And you don't want to get too detailed. And so this oval is like this. The oval includes the furriness. There's very little neck. So it comes down here, and then the shoulder comes out. It comes out. Now the angle of that is about like this. Angle of here is like this. It comes here. It comes out of the head here at this point here. Okay, and then it has a little chin here. Now, you're gonna create a line through the face, and it's an angled line like this. Everything aligned out of it. Now, how high is that? So the bottom of the head is right here, chin. So how far does the nose go up? You gotta see. Yeah, I mean, objectively, try to look at it. You might create a cross here. And what goes across the middle here? The top of the eyes. So we want to space it out. And then the nose, it comes down. The nose and the eye creates an angle here. Right? And it creates an angle here. So the nose kind of ends right up here, and it's almost diamond shaped, round. Now again, I don't want to put too much detail on here because I might be wrong. So right here, there's two little lines here. You can see the little whiskers and all that. We can put that in later, but the cheeks here by the nose, sides of the nose, I guess. It comes in here, there's a short line here, and then there's an inverted Y here. So that goes around. You see that the mouth creates part of that, part of the nose, or the snout. Okay, so those are just there to give you a little bearing. So this one's a little bit off. And I use a white eraser. And there's gonna be a little fuzzy there. You see right here, it's not a full round. Kind of puffs out here. And then this puffs out here. This puffs out more. There's a little curve here, and this comes out like that. Now with animals, you want to get as much as you can correct, but it's not critical because, you know, as they move, the angles and everything will be different. So you just want to get close. With people, you're trying to capture personality and everything, so it's a little bit tough. Now inside the eyes, there's a point to it. Okay, and then there's a point here, but it's not really showing on this eye. This one is going to be somewhat symmetrical with the other eye. There's not much of an eyelid there, but there is a corner, a slight corner here, right there. Now, this thing is mainly black. It's good to shade it in the direction that the shape is going in, but you can see two little highlights. So I would leave two little highlights here. And there's a problem with this. So you fill it in, and again lightly. You could do it a little darker later, but that helps keep you going. This big forehead here, this fur here, pretty much flat here, except you can just freelance or improvise these furriness, and then this is pretty straight eye here. And then you see these lines, these errant lines that turned out to be incorrect. You could erase it, the guidelines, you can take those out. Okay. And right in here, you see that there's, and you can go and practice just doing these types of lines, you know, and that just captures that ear. And then when here you notice it's darker, so you'd want to maybe bear down a little bit more on your pencil. And right in here, as you go over this a little bit, you want to keep this, see that little dark strip right in there. You want to go in the direction of the fur, and so that kind of fills that out. And then this, you know, it's furry, so you want to add a little bit of dimension in here. This one looks like it should come in right about here, and then this extra lobe here, and then you can add that fur here. As it gets closer, it's shorter, shorter fuzz, but you can see it's longer here, and it kind of goes in. There's a line here, a highlight here, and you can kind of show that like this, and then you lightly draw in. You don't want to draw in every hair. You want to suggest it. Say, you see it's darker, and then this captures the light, so it's seen. It's more visible. And then so right in here, there's a little cavity there, and that's going to be a little bit darker. So we're going to fill that in. Right here, there's a little bit of shadow here, right there. And when you draw these lines, you don't want to cross over at harsh angles. You want to kind of go along with what was there before, like this. So you don't want to cross over like that in right angles. Right here you can cross, you know, anywhere you can cross, but just as long as it's not at right angles. I think, personally, I think it looks better that way, but it's up to you. And so I suggest that. Now the eyes are going to get a lot darker, and so is the nose. So you can start filling that in. You can see there's a highlight right here. So right here. Then you can see the little nostrils here. Right here it kind of disappears, but we could sometimes I don't go all the way to the pencil edge, and it looks like a little highlight, and that's kind of cool. And then this one fades out, so I go light, and then I go a little bit darker, but I make sure there's a little change of color right there. So this nose looks like it's popping out a little bit. Okay, and then there's dots here along, so his whiskers are actually coming, following this pattern. It's not real complete lines here, but there seems to be a pattern the whiskers are following. And so there's a little bit of this. And the upper lip, it's almost like a person's lip. So it's darker here and it kind of gets lighter. And that gives the impression there's a lip there. And then right here, you just add a little fuzzy mini beard there. Now here, there's not a lot going on. There's a pattern here and a slight darkness here. And you can just kind of suggest that by doing it this way. And you could put some crosshatch like that. And that indicates a little bit of darkness. Right here, you see there's a light outline that follows here, but it ends somewhere around here. You can kind of suggest that by going through here like that. And then again, there's a little bit of darkness right in here, so you can add some texture here. Okay, so right under here, there's some darkness. There's shadow here, shadow right here. So it's kind of like the legs start somewhere down here. So this length here, from let's say the bottom of his chin to where his armpit is about like this. So what is that? That's equal to the middle of the eyes to the chin. So middle of the eyes to the chin, and then here. So right about here. And it's really fuzzy, this drawing. So you can just, this is the texture, it's fuzz. Now how far does this go down? Well, if you go down this far, that's from the chin to the bottom of the foot. So we want to know where the foot ends. So, okay, what is this? Maybe it's the same as from the earlobe to the top of this ear. So let's go like this. So maybe like this. And so maybe it's around here. So now this foot is getting narrower here. So we'll do this. And it's just a suggestion here. So let's take these lines out. Make the foot narrower here. And it's kind of unknown what's going on in there, but you can see that his chest maybe ends around here. Then you start getting a feel for the thing, and it's less critical here, but you don't measure as much maybe as you get further into it, or as you draw more. Now this foot comes forward, so it's about here, but we don't see what it's doing there. And then it looks like the leg has a contour, goes up here, but the body comes out here, and it's kind of doing something there. So, you know, even though it's blurry, you know, you can, once you define where things are, you could make it look like it's detailed, and then no one will know that the photo is blurry. You got to use some of your imagination there. So you can see the fur is actually going in different directions here. I try not to get too crazy and with too many directions, so I'll just try to keep it like this. But where you draw is darker, obviously, and so that's suggests shading, shadows, and it is darker in this area here. And then there's some lines here. When I have a lot of straight lines, I try to break it up with a little bit of cross hatching there. And so, and all this is darker, but I won't go in everywhere and do it. I kind of leave some left up to the imagination, but where it's most dark is right under here, and people kind of expect shadows, so I would put a little more attention where the shadows are. And this looks like it's empty here, so you don't want that. You want to suggest a line, and then somehow you see there's a lot of vertical here, and then you can see his belly here. So I would show a little bit of that. Now there's a big line here. I would take that out to make people aware that this is a continuous thing. So it's kind of like not exciting in here. The face is more exciting, but you do want to give it attention. So it's a complete drawing. You'll be happy with it. Let's see. So this So, you know, there's a light spot here, so I'll just fill it in, just here, and take your time with it. And if you take your time with it, it'll look really good. So you're careful. If it looks uneven, you can easily correct it. So that eye's dark, but you can see there's darkness around here. So you make that look like a fuzz. And you can see it's around here. You give it a little bit of personality. Same with here. This looks like it's properly drawn or pretty close. I'm still kind of rusty, and then so just want to fill this in. And what you want is just basically a light touch here and fill it in. Okay. And then there's darkness around here. Darkness is the fur, so you can kind of go like this. Follow the path of the hair, the direction of the hair. See? And then there's a little bit up here. And things in real life don't look perfect, so they'll have little spots and blemishes and things like that. So you see these lines here, you want to get rid of those eventually. Here. And sometimes you go in and you with a darker pencil or something, and those will disappear. So these lines here also go, they don't define. Okay, so just some final touches. So there's going to be whiskers that you want to draw, and you can't really draw them exactly, you just want to get the idea, but you can see there's quite a few, and they even cross. And so you want to give that impression, and you kind of lighten up at the end, which I'm trying to do, so it fades out. And then there's some above the eyes, whiskers above the eyes, not too many. And you want to just give that effect. And that's it.